You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we celebrate our 2-year anniversary by playing WWF WrestleMania 2000. Will this Nintendo 64 classic hold up today? Will we play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All of this plus gaming news, GMP64 and Clash at the Feast. Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now. And now, the Game Marks.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, George Feis.
And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and like we said, today is our 2-year anniversary special, and we're playing WWF WrestleMania 2000.
And as always, we love to hear from you, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen and join in on the conversation on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod, and find us on Patreon, patreon.com/GameMarksPod. Now, before we jump right into it and do the, hey, John, what's going on? How are you?
We're getting sentimental, Georgie, early.
No, I just want to say, it's not sentimental. I just want to say, this is really cool. Every time that we hit a milestone, certain number of episodes, 2 years, things like that, I'm always reminded of how, like, this podcast starts from you and I, like, having fake meaningless arguments on Twitter, and like here we are 2 years later with the podcast, part of the Major Pod Network,
having fake meaningless arguments now live for everyone to hear.
Yeah. It's just cool to think of how far this friendship and this podcast has come in the last 2 years.
I feel like we just did the 100th episode, and I also feel like we just did the 1 year episode where we played Revenge. So this went really quick.
I can't believe that you and I are already talking about things for Gameboree. Like, I feel like Gameboree was like a couple of months ago. Like, it doesn't feel like, like this is normally the time where we start planning for Gameboree, but like I feel like I just did it. Like I just was playing till odd hours of the morning because Spork was like, keep me company on while I'm working late. Like this, it feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah, and we're going bigger and we're going better this year for our third Gameboree, and I can't wait to get that going. But let's chat about last week. Lucha Libre, AAA, Heroes of the Ring. We both, actually no, I future endeavored. You played it forever. I want to hear what you're thinking now.
I mean, I still feel the same. I've been playing it, and it's still that same thing. Like, the controls are not your normal wrestling controls, but they're not bad, and the game itself walks that line of like, it's got things that make it unique and appealing, but also it's the same things that make it different are also the things that make it not great. But I'm still like, it's on that line, and it's just a little on the fence of a play it forever for me, like a little bit over that line. Not a lot, but just enough.
No, the more I think about it, the more I just get mad at it. But huge response on Twitter when we started posting about it. There was a "Did you know" from Gacto that said this game is built on UDK, and it's possible to inspect the animation assets from it, which is pretty cool. Very open game from what I see. A lot of different opinions that kind of are most, like with you, where they're teetering the line of, I love this game, I put time into this game. It wasn't pretty, but any game with a Lucha license they love, so it's kind of something like that. But
I saw one that kind of took me by surprise here. Did you see that someone posted the mask?
Someone got the mask. I meant to message this guy and figure out how he got it since it was discontinued. Maybe there's just some in circulation. Maybe he worked for a gaming company or something and was able to get it.
I was thinking that maybe they made a few of them and then they pulled them.
Yeah.
That's my thing, is that they maybe went into production and then they got pulled.
How were you able to acquire that mask if they were pulled? Question mark. Send. Okay, we're going to find out hopefully next week. All right, what's new on Patreon this week? Today, Monday, you will get the ad-free show. Tomorrow, you get the show notes and GMP Game Over at Night. Wednesday, last week I played WCW Backstage Assault for Future Endeavored. I had fun. I put on Tiny Wrestler mode, Big Woman mode, and all that. And George, you get to play this week. God bless. I hope you have as much fun as I did. Friday,
I've been ready because I thought it was my week to play this. So
Friday, Clash and Burn. Last week, I actually talked with Danny Tancredi of the Card Foundation podcast. It was a nice little 10-minute interview. He said he could have gone a couple more hours. So, hey, maybe one day we'll have them on and we'll just talk a lot. But it was a cool experience to just hear more about cards and autographs and their love for wrestling and all that.
Well, I think I've showed you this many a times. This is the old Ziploc bag full of my wrestling trading cards, and I've got some old SmackDown cards. I've got some WCW cards in here. I've got the cards that look like they're the giant Polaroid pictures, but they're actually trading cards. Like it's crazy. They had so much stuff, and I want to go through it because I haven't seen it in probably, I don't know, 20 years. I haven't gone through those, but I'm waiting. I haven't opened that Ziploc bag in a long time because I figure if we're going to have the Card Foundation on, that's the time to crack that open and we'll go through it together.
All right, so I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but let's bleed into the whole Card Foundation thing. We got some announcements here, George. Being it's our 2-year anniversary episode, we figured we would come at you with something special, some new stuff, some new things available. Let's start with saying that we are going to have our very own line of thumb grips for your controller coming out today. They are dropping today.
We're getting in the grip game.
On top of that, we heard our Discord channel. There was a joke made, and then it turned into something else. We have guitar picks made with the Game Marks Podcast logo on them. If you're on George's stream and you want to strum along with his drumming, if you're just a guitar player, if you just want to support and have a cool little collectible, we have.
If you're a psychopath and you play Rock Band with a guitar pick.
Oh God, that sounds awful. But we have guitar picks available right now. But on top of that, we did this last year and we're doing it again. We have a print for sale on GameMarksPod.com/shop. that shows every game we played for year 2 with a Play It Forever or our future endeavor.
John, listen, stand up, take a bow. This is probably one of the most badass things that you have designed for this podcast.
Thank you.
It is so cool looking. Kudos to John. Kudos.
Hey, thanks. But also, there's a corresponding T-shirt available as well, a little commemorative 2-year anniversary Game Marks Podcast T-shirt. But here's the big announcement. Coming this year, we're going to do this quarterly. So for a year, Game Marks Podcast is coming out with trading cards.
Oh.
You just heard it. Trading cards. So they're going to be illustrated. They're going to be beautiful. They're not going to be just us standing around in the background. They are going to be artistic and designed. You're going to get for a year. They will be for sale. If you're a Patreon member, $5 tier and up, you will get these for free. If you're on the Mega Mark tier, the top tier of our Patreon, you will get the variants. So I'll give you a little incentive to sign up if you want these for free. If not, they will be for sale for everyone. So look out for those coming. I would say in the next maybe month or two, we'll start this up.
Yeah, and if you're a part of that Mega Mark tier, listen, some variants and signed variants aren't the only other thing that you'll be getting. There may be some other extras that get thrown in there, but again, you're only going to know about it if you're part of that Mega Mark tier.
All right, so speaking of, we don't have like a weekly purchases section here, but I did do some things this week that I want to talk about. So we were playing All-Star Pro Wrestling 2. We had that artwork. We were talking about that beautiful poster that came with it that was on eBay, which, see, guys, if you're in the Patreon, if you're in the Discord, I just flat out said, you know what? If you guys want a print of this artwork signed by us, you're all going to get one. Just, we're all going to get one. I didn't even ask George. I just said you're all going to get one. We're going to have that. We're going to get that.
No, you asked me in the Discord.
I said, yes,
in the
okay.
middle. You're like, hey, I'm just going to kind of shoot this on George right now, and hopefully he's okay with it. And honestly, probably one of the best impromptu ideas we've had.
But that poster that I've been talking about for a few weeks with Kaijimoto and Masawa on it, autographed, I wasn't going over $100 on that on eBay. It was going for about $140, $150, and I was like, okay, you know what? That's a little too much for me. It's out of my budget. Looking for a house, I can't really do that. And all of a sudden, it was gone within the next day or two, and I was like, I sent this to our Discord. I talked about it on the air. It's got to be one of you guys. It's got to be someone here that scooped this poster up. I was like, maybe they'll just stay silent because they wanted it, whatever. And then I get a message from Tecker. You've heard his name here before. He's a very supportive listener of the podcast. And he says, hey, what if I told you that one of your listeners purchased this poster with the intention of selling it to you for your asking price of $100? And I said, what? Like, why would you do that for me? It was incredible. It was a whole, basically, thank you for doing what you do. And that's all we need. All we need is a little thank you. And we do this because we love video games. But when you hear stuff like that, it just makes it like extra cool. So now, thanks to Sean, I'm going to have this poster of Kaijimoto staring a hole through my soul someday in a, like you said, in a home gym, just telling me to, one more set, come on.
Yeah, it's one of those. So I don't know. It's like kind of like a humbling experience when you hear stuff like that, because you and I, we say it. I feel like we said it last year on the 1 year anniversary. I want to say it again now. We're not famous. We're not, we're not former televised wrestlers. We're not, nationally, worldwide known athletes. We're just two schmucks who happen to like wrestling and video games and decided to start a podcast together. So the fact that, one, we're in the position that we're in right now, I'm incredibly thankful for that. But then to also know that we have this community that, one, not only supports each other, they have their own friendships, they form their own bonds and stuff like that, but to know that they also support you and I so much and they're willing to do something like this. Like, I think the community that we have established is one of the things that I am most proud of from starting this podcast, because there are friendships that they have formed. There's friendships that we have formed that otherwise we, probably never would have connected. So to me, I'm very, very happy that we are in a position that we were able to, put something together where someone would want to even do this for us. Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy. And you bet your ass he's going to have a really nice care package coming his way.
Oh, absolutely.
But all right. Our YouTube channel, where we host GMP64. This week, episode 27, and what a banger of an episode that was. When we hit 400 subscriptions, we are going to release the history of the Road Warriors, the video game glory of the Legion of Doom. We're currently around 330. We've made our way up there from 290 when we started this promotion, and we are getting closer and closer every day.
Guys, it's free. It is free to subscribe to a YouTube channel. If you have a Gmail account, you've got a free subscription to a YouTube channel, and it's to any channel. So go subscribe to us. Go subscribe to Major Pod Network. Go subscribe to Johnny Clash.
Hey, I don't really do much anymore, but yeah.
Cap TV.
Speaking of Cap TV, we return to Creative Pro Wrestling September 12th.
Return of the Cap. Return of the Cap.
And just saying, I will be in action. So if you're in the New York area, get your tickets now. If not, maybe we'll stream it again on the Major Pod Network Twitch channel.
We've touched on all the other big things that we wanted to talk about this week, but we cannot skip over the streamer spotlight, twitch.tv/headburglar. Now, this is a friend of John's who plays everything from Minecraft to Valorant to Fortnite. You have heard us talk about him for the last 2 weeks, and listen, if you're not already following, it is free. Go and support John's friend of the podcast, twitch.tv/headburglar today.
That's right. Saw him yesterday. We talked about a lot of stuff gaming. He's always upgrading his PC as well. You guys would get along if you ever met.
Oh, so he's a nerd.
He's a nerd,
like
yes.
Great.
In a good way.
Okay. He's the what did you used to call me? Oh, you called me Donatello.
You're definitely the Donatello here. All right, but we got some news going. What do you say we jump into the 2-year anniversary of the gaming news?
Oh, baby. Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
A new GTA 5 leak has Grand Theft Auto fans excited to try out the game on PS5, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X. The leak comes the way of PlayStation Germany, who accidentally shared some unannounced details on the next-gen port of the game, and in the process leaked that the game will be both 4K and support 60 frames per second at the same time. In other words, players won't need to choose between resolution or frame rate. Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, a new report backs up previous rumors that a GTA remastered trilogy collecting the PS2-era Grand Theft Auto games is not only in development, but actually set to launch at some point within the next few months. The report comes courtesy of Kotaku, citing sources that Rockstar is working to remaster the classics, which would be Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Kotaku's sources believe that this trilogy of games will be released at some point in late October or early November on multiple platforms, including Nintendo Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. If this is true, this will mark the first time these games have been available to play on a Nintendo console. PC and mobile versions are also planned, but Kotaku believes that could slip into 2022. Fortnite is no stranger to high-profile crossovers, with the last couple of years seeing the Battle Royale collaborate with some of the biggest brands and franchises in the world. Epic Games is continuing this now regular Fortnite practice, adding new content based on the upcoming movie Free Guy. Are you picking up Ryan Reynolds to pickaxe his way through Fortnite? And that's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week. George, is that one that you would purchase? Would you purchase Ryan Reynolds to play Fortnite?
Have you seen the model?
I'm assuming it's the jacked version. I don't know much about the movie yet. I know it's like a game world he's stuck in, but it looks pretty cool.
He's an NPC in a video game and then like breaks out a character.
That's cool.
But he's jacked and shirtless and has like this weird bowl cut thing. It doesn't even really look like Ryan Reynolds, but no, the Deadpool model looks more like Ryan Reynolds, and that has a mask on.
That's pretty cool, though. All right, I want to touch on something we spoke of earlier. We spoke of that mask that one of our listeners had from Lucha Libre, and I was wondering why, because they weren't released. Like, how'd you get this? So I actually messaged him. I said, how were you able to acquire that mask if they were pulled? And he says, I worked in the gaming industry when it was launching. They handed some out months in advance to hype the bonus. They didn't announce the mask cancellation until like mere days before the game release. I don't know if others got one of the different masks or if the early handout was all the same one. I could reach out to some industry friends and see. They probably don't even have this anymore or remember. So I think we got lucky that he's not only a wrestling fan, but he worked in the gaming industry and he had this and kept it. But he's going to actually send us more pictures of the mask, like better quality. And his name is @Mike Lanham. Lanham, if you want to give him a follow. It was awesome to hear that. Good to see the mask. You know, it's not just something we visualize on the podcast as like a little promo shot. We actually got to see what it looks like, and it looks legit. It's like right on par with a real lucha mask. So cool.
Yeah, and it's got the little logo in the back. It's that's definitely legit.
Yeah, cool to see. Hopefully he sends us more pictures and we could share them with everyone. But thank you again, Mike Lanham, for that. George, you have anything on gaming news?
I mean, hold on. I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
Like, that you know that it's legit. So obviously you see these pictures. You see pictures of the mask. Oh, it could be a repro. I bought them at an indie show. Like, there's just guys that make masks and you can buy them at like indie shows. This has the Slang logo.
Oh, yeah.
Stitched into it. So you know that it's like legit and the real thing, because as someone who used to work at GameStops and had to deal with pre-order bonuses, it's not like this is a Spyro figure or something like that. This is a mask that otherwise you wouldn't know. So this stitching of the developer on the actual mask is kind of like the tell of like, this is a legit project and this is a legit piece.
Yeah, it's super cool, and I would love to somehow get my hands on one, but doesn't seem like that would be possible.
Well, now we know they exist, so you never know.
All right, but you got anything else? I was going to say I'm excited for GTA to come to the PC. It looks like it's going to take a while to get all three. I'm gonna be transparent.
You're on board
here.
with the remaster or no?
Yeah, listen, I'm going to be very transparent here. GTA 3 I completed. Vice City I completed. San Andreas, I was out of the PlayStation game by then. I never played San Andreas, besides like later on someone handing me the controller and just running around. Never got through the story. I've played it, but I never played it, you know?
San Andreas is cool. There's like, it adds, I think it's one of the only ones in the series to have like the food and like weight lifting.
That's what I heard was annoying about it.
That's one of those things that you're either going to love or you're going to hate. So like if you wanted to make your guy super jacked and you wanted to make CJ like this giant, massive, like Brock Lesnar freak looking guy, you absolutely can.
Perfect.
Or if you wanted to make him look like this little string bean, you absolutely could do that too. Obviously they've done away with that since, but it was unique. It was something different, and it's one of those mechanics that you're either going to love or you're going to hate.
So here's the thing. I was an Xbox kid before. Like, I went from PS1 to the original Xbox. I skipped PS2 for years until I got the Slim. So on Xbox, they came out with the 2-pack of GTA 3 and Vice City, so I would just bounce between those two. So by the time San Andreas came out, I was still, like, getting hyped on those because I finally had them. I wasn't just playing them at a friend's house. I was still running. Now I had 2 Grand Theft Auto games to play. Why would I play San Andreas?
Yeah, I actually, before the release of GTA 5, maybe it was GTA 4, before the release of either 4 or 5, I bought on the PlayStation Network San Andreas because I was just like itching for a GTA game, and I knew that it was coming out, and I was like, I just need something to play to like fill this void, and it was like on sale for like $10. I'm like, I gotta get it just to have something.
Well, that's worth it. I think I have Vice City on my phone, but I don't play it because it takes up a lot of battery and space. But yeah, I think that's the only one in the series I haven't played.
GTA 5 on your PlayStation or on your PC for like $5 now. So
I'm still playing it. It's great.
Super cheap. I love it.
I gotta go back and play 4. Oh, that was fun. A lot of fun. The story was great.
Maybe after Day of Reckoning, you play through San Andreas.
It's your cousin Roman. All right.
You want to go bowling?
All right. Enough of us BSing over Grand Theft Auto. Is it time for the question of the week?
Let's do it.
What's up, Game Marks? Are you trying to look your best while repping your favorite video game podcast duo? We know just the place. Head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod to pick up your favorite GMP designs, including our various logo tees, Future Endeavor, the classic NES Pro Wrestling style tee, and of course, Mark the F out. Order today and receive a phone call from us. You never know who will pop in. That's ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. Play it forever.
All right, so we didn't have a question of the week last week, but there will be a slot from now on where if you leave us a 5-star review and let us know what you think about this podcast and myself and John and whatever game that we played that week, that episode that you listened to, you will win an exclusive GMP 8x10. Now, right now, it is the FWF 1. The first FWF Live 8x10 that John and I designed and made and printed and signed. So leave us a review and you could receive one of these, and then who knows? Maybe there'll be another one.
All right, but this week's question comes from Twitter from Century 3 Mall, a.k.a. Stinkus, and he says, since AKI was developing...
I'm sorry, what is that?
Skinkus.
Like Skin Kiss?
Like Minkus from Boy Meets World, but Skinkus.
Skinkus? Okay.
Yeah. Since AKI was developing both, if you could only get a chance to play one canceled sequel, which would you choose? WWF Backlash...
Yes.
For N64 or WCW Mayhem 2 for PS2.
Backlash. 1,000% Backlash.
You know where I'm going with this. I'm going Mayhem 2.
I knew that. I'm going Backlash. One, because I so curious as to what they had in store to build upon that No Mercy engine. I really wanted to know where that was going to go. And also part of me, because I knew that you were going to say Mayhem.
Yeah, it's like SmackDown kind of took precedent over the N64 games. And I think Backlash would have been somewhere in the realm between No Mercy and WrestleMania 18. Like maybe they would have made the characters models look a little better. The gameplay itself was cool, but you would have had maybe a more extensive story mode, career mode, whatever they wanted to call it. I think Mayhem 2. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what? I might be switching to Backlash because if you think about it, Mayhem was cool. Then it went to Backstage Assault, which was a huge downgrade. And then Mayhem.
You didn't like it?
Oh, God. And then Mayhem 2 would have been back to maybe the same engine, but now on PS2, so it would have looked pretty, but how would it play? You don't know. So I think that if WCW never went out of business, it would be easier to make an assessment here. But I guess I got to go with Backlash also.
Okay, well that was the quickest flip flop I've ever seen ever.
Who would you have in Mayhem 2?
There's no wrong answer here. Like either one is good. So like I guess maybe you could have the same roster as Mayhem 1, but just like you swap out some people who maybe weren't included in the first game.
It'd be like Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo, 3 count. Like it would be the newer generation probably, and there's not
then you
enough.
Get like some of the legends.
Short hair Sting against Vampiro, like that era. And
oh yeah, let's do it. Give me that. I'll play it as long as the roster's only part of the game, man. If the game mechanics or the gameplay itself is great, I can make do with a roster. Give me some creative slots. I'll make everyone else.
Yeah, no. Backlash
I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think either one is good. But I'm just more leaning towards the Backlash.
Yeah, I think most people will. But now we ask you, the listeners, which one would you choose? WWF Backlash for N64 or WCW Mayhem 2 for PS2? But okay.
Oh man. Man.
For 2 years. Time? We've been tiptoeing for 2 years on the same diving board. We've been launching off. Are you ready for the deep dive of WrestleMania 2000?
Oh, I don't even know what I'm doing into the pool. I'm doing like a corkscrew, somersault, backflip, phoenix splash into off the diving board into the pool. I'm so ready for this.
Sure you are. I'm doing a 450 like Jeff Hardy's finisher in this game. Let's go.
Are you sick of drinking the same old boring coffee with the same old boring flavors? Well, Marks, it's time for you to check out Bones Coffee Company. Bones Coffee isn't just a drink that wakes you up in the morning. It's a full flavor experience. Small batch roasts that are made to order so that every order is guaranteed to be fresh. Unbelievable, all-natural flavors in every single bag. Some of our favorites are blueberry, paradise pie, and chocolate raspberry. But if you're not into the flavored coffees, they've got their single origin series featuring coffee beans from the greatest coffee growing regions in the world. Visit GameMarksPod.com/coffee to place your order and try the world's freshest small batch coffee. John, I have 3 words for you.
Oh.
Peaches and Scream.
Excuse me?
Bones Coffee.
Oh, okay.
New flavor.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Peaches and Scream. Brazilian Arabica beans with peach and a smooth, creamy finish. They're telling us that this is the number 1 summer coffee to make in a cold brew and iced coffee. And I gotta be honest with you, it sounds pretty great.
Yeah, I'm in. I love me some Bones Coffee. Order today at GameMarksPod.com/coffee. We made it easy for you.
Mine's in the mail. All right, John. WWF WrestleMania 2000. We are here. It is time. Released October 31st in 1999 for the N64. Developed by Asmik Ace Entertainment and AKI. Published by our favorites over at THQ. And this is it. This is the spiritual successor, we'll say, to WCW NWO Revenge, because obviously it's 2 different promotions, so it's not a sequel, but it's the next in line. It's on the same engine. This is the first WWF game released by THQ after WWF cut ties with Acclaim. And where do you start with this?
Well, this is the most typical WWF thing of all time. They see WCW's having success with their video games. Maybe Revenge, World Tour, or yada yada. They're all just that much better than Warzone, than Attitude. And they said, you know what, Acclaim? We go back to 1989 for WrestleMania for the NES. You're fired. And they pick up this THQ license, leaving WCW with Nitro and Thunder with Inland Productions, then to go to Electronic Arts. And it's just kind of like, you just screwed the pooch here. Like, you stole it from them, and you're going to go on to be very successful with WrestleMania 2000. And as we know, WWF, No Mercy. Now, WrestleMania.
So in our notes, I just posted a meme because this is how I see WCW. It's the, if you're not familiar, it is the I made this, you made this, I made this meme. So if you just Google you made this, I made this meme, this is how I view WWF at this time. You made a really successful game? Oh, well, I'm going to take that. And now you didn't make it. I made a very successful game.
Yeah.
Nothing exists in the AKI THQ world pre WrestleMania 2000 in the WWF size.
I'm actually going to edit that and put the actual video games over it and post it for everyone. So
there's a
we'll
new shirt maybe if we don't get DMCA'd.
Yeah, we seem to be getting those a lot lately. Now, this is the same engine, obviously, as Japanese release Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, which is now succeeded by No Mercy. And it's the last series before, as we mentioned earlier, how the SmackDown series kind of takes over and takes the WWF license, because now you're going on to PS2, you're now going on to the GameCube, you're going to get mostly just the SmackDown series. We're not going to really talk about Raw 2, WrestleMania 21, those don't really count. Once you get to the next gen, like PS3 and Xbox 360, it's all just one SmackDown versus Raw. So this is kind of last of a dying breed, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know that. I'm still thinking about that question. Because now we're talking about, okay, so you got WrestleMania 2000, and you got a Virtual Pro Wrestling series, and then you get No Mercy. And it's like, there could have been one more.
Yeah, I guess the one more is WrestleMania 18, like I said, because it actually does play somewhat similar to these games, to WrestleMania and No Mercy, but it's got the new spin on it. The new graphics look better, but same type of entrances, same type of hitting your finisher. It's just all the same. The strong grapples. So I could only imagine if this series continued, it would be something like that.
Oh yeah,
it's not everyone's favorite either.
All right, so do you want to jump in and start talking about your game options, your match types right here?
Yeah, tell me what we got.
All right, so as is expected with some of the best games in history, you've got your exhibition mode, where you have a singles, a tag match, a three-way, and a cage match. You also have your King of the Ring, your pay-per-view mode, where you can make your own pay-per-views, your Royal Rumble, your Edit a Wrestler, and the bread and butter of this game, the Road to WrestleMania, where you start out as the low man on the totem pole with whoever you pick, and you go through 60 weeks of matches, and you can hold, if you are very good at this game, you can hold every single title and be undefeated going in and winning at WrestleMania. Now, if you've played No Mercy, if you've played Revenge, you can see how this kind of progresses here. So in Revenge, you have the championship modes where you kind of run through the gauntlet and you win the titles at the end. You unlock a wrestler, but there's no cutscenes. There's no promos. Road to WrestleMania, here in this game, in WrestleMania 2000, you've got, depending on the match outcome, depending on where you are, you get a couple of cutscenes. So in the one that I played through, The Rock comes out and he cuts a promo. Then Triple H comes out and he cuts a promo. And then Vince McMahon strips you of your title and you have to win it back. And, you know, in 60 weeks, there's maybe 4 or 5 cutscenes. Where in No Mercy, like every other week, someone's coming out, having words, standing on the ramp, talking. Like there's so much. It feels like it's a real television show.
Yeah, it was kind of like, look what we could do. And
but you can
ran with it.
You can see the seeds of that being planted in WrestleMania 2000, and it's cool. This is always a very interesting thing for me to go back and see the progression. So we played World Tour, we played Revenge, we played WrestleMania 2000. Obviously, you and I play a lot of No Mercy because of GMP64. It's cool to see how the games progress and grow, and the features that are added. Like, there's no running grapples in this game, which is like a very interesting thing. But that's like a staple of No Mercy. But if you've never played No Mercy, you're not missing that.
No, and ask our buddy Swoggle about that, because he is through and through against No Mercy. He likes Revenge. He likes WrestleMania 2000. He wants nothing to do with No Mercy. But I did say during our Clash at the Feast that we were talking about the entrances and the animations of the entrances. No Mercy progresses to getting that hard stop after they leave the ramp. Now, I feel like in these games, they're not realistic. They're not true to TV. They're not true to what you get in like a WWF WCW presentation. So their walks are different. The animations are different. The taunts are a little bit clunky and different. I don't think you need to watch a guy walk from the ramp to the ring because it's just a casual, slow walk. It's not like, you know, The Rock has his certain walk. Austin has his certain walk, and they slide in the ring. They do their thing. You don't need all that unless it's like Kane and The Undertaker who raise the lights or do the pyro. But I like in No Mercy how it's the hard stop, it's a quick entrance, and then you get that after the match. And you can skip it if you want.
I don't know. I kind of liked the present. I mean, okay. Does everyone need it? No. Because the Hardy Boys, they come in, they do
nothing.
They do nothing, and then they get in the ring and they do their little like, woo, throw my hands up in the air. Like, that's it. So there's really nothing to that. Whereas in No Mercy, they come out, they do the Hardy Boys, the Team Extreme, like hand gesture. Like, that's cool. Some people maybe get the full entrance, some people don't. Whereas in No Mercy, no one's got a full entrance, and some people definitely need a full entrance.
Yeah, and that's just something they wouldn't do. They would either go all in or all out, as we saw.
If I'm making it, I would like to mix and match. But listen, let's talk about the actual control scheme, because if you've played any of the games in this series, you know what you're talking. You know what you're doing. This is, I don't know. I feel like we say this all the time, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like, it is the best controller scheme. There's you know what to do. It's not a hard learning curve here. It is the easiest system to pick up. I don't know. I
agree.
I could sing the praises of this all day.
And that's something else that they carried over to the GameCube version of the games, because I'm playing through Day of Reckoning right now. It's exactly the same moveset. You have your reversals on the triggers. You have your strong and your weak grapples. You have your... honestly, maybe with WrestleMania like 19, they kind of veered off a little bit, but when they went back to the Day of Reckoning series, they're like, okay, let's do what works, and this is what works. And I'm going to say it again. I've said it last week. I've said it the week before that. When we get this All Elite Wrestling game, I am hoping that they keep something like this controller scheme that's just so easy to pick up and go. I went back and I played, it was me and you, we played 2K20 or 2K, I don't know, one of the 2Ks. It is not easy to just go in and pick up one of these games and start playing, because you have no idea what you're doing.
Are we peeking behind the curtain here and saying that when we did the Taker Bray, Taker Fiend,
I mean, it's not a peek behind the curtain. We clearly know it was clearly 2K20.
Now, what are you talking about? That was the Undertaker and Bray Wyatt using their dark magic to change the course of GMP64. No,
it's just not easy. Like Fire Pro, it's easy. You know, since the first Fire Pro game all the way up to now, they've changed minimal, and you know how to play it, and it works. These games, they were all the same, and it works.
It's an established series. They just added content.
Even the SmackDown series, all the way up to Here Comes the Pain, it was all very similar. It all worked.
I think I can't remember. I'm having like a brain fart right now. It's either in this game or in Revenge from a front grapple. Oh no, from a back grapple you can't transfer to a front grapple.
Right.
I think it may actually be this one too, because you end up doing where you hold them to take punches.
So this one, I noticed I couldn't do what we normally would do in No Mercy and toss you out of the ring.
You can. Different button.
I tried all the C buttons. It just didn't work for me. So I'm probably just...
It's the run button. It's the last button that you would think to press.
That's annoying.
Yep. They changed it in No Mercy to a different button because it messed with the Irish whip mechanics where you would go to throw someone out of the ring and you would end up Irish whipping them, or vice versa, where you would go to Irish whip someone and you were too close to the ring or to the ropes and you end up throwing them out of the ring.
Yeah. Well, what do you say we go into this beautiful roster that we all know from WrestleMania 2000? One of the most iconic rosters in years for the Attitude Era.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
All right, but first, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors. All right, George, you want me to take this one? You want the day off?
Sure. Thank you. This is your present to me. I appreciate that.
All right. So your roster for WrestleMania 2000 is Al Snow, Big Boss Man, Big Show, Bradshaw, Brian Christopher, Chaz, Chris Jericho, Christian, D'Lo Brown, Draws, Edge, Farouk, Gangrel, Gerald Briscoe, Godfather, Hardcore Holly, Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett, Kane, Ken Shamrock, Mankind, Mark Henry, Matt Hardy, Meat, Michael Hayes, Midian, Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn, Mr. McMahon, Pat Patterson, Prince Albert, Road Dogg, Jesse James, Scott Taylor, Shane McMahon, Steve Austin, Steve Blackman, Test, The Blue Meanie, The Rock, Thrasher, Triple H, The Undertaker, Val Venus, Viscera, and X-Pac. And now your divas, you have Chyna, Deborah, Ivory, Jacqueline, Terry Runnels, and Tori.
But wait, that's not all. Because there are also, ready, John? Unlockable wrestlers.
Hey, who we got?
All right, so all of these wrestlers are unlocked by playing the Road to WrestleMania mode. And they are Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Jerry the King Lawler, Jim Ross, Paul Bearer, Shawn Michaels, and Stephanie McMahon.
Wow, what a roster that is. So Shawn Michaels in this and No Mercy is both an unlockable, so he's not in the base roster here.
This is hurt back retired commissioner Shawn Michaels. So
also looking at the roster, Chaz and Thrasher. I forgot that Mosh went on to be Chaz for a little bit, and then they reunited, and he just stuck with the Chaz name.
Yeah, there's like a couple of... All right, so a little preemptive Did You Know here that's not officially a part of the Did You Know section, but... Okay, so there are secret hidden tag teams in this game. So if you tag Xbox, if you tag X-Pac and Triple H and you make both of their music the DX music and you start a tag team match with them, they come out as D-Generation X, Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown. You can do the Brood, the Corporate Ministry, the Headbangers, the New Age Outlaws. Works if you change the entrance music to Road Dogs. And ready for this, John?
Mm-hmm.
The Union.
The Union. You forget that Big Show is in this game as opposed to No Mercy, because I feel like his main run was that WrestleMania 2000 run, but actually in No Mercy. It's a year later, but yeah, no, it's so confusing. So this is the first THQ produced N64 title with a create a wrestler mode. You could create your own wrestler, whoever they may be, but you could also edit wrestlers, which we've seen in the past. except their moveset, which kind of has screwed us in GMP64 because we got to hack the game, but it is possible to do. And you can create up to 8 championship belts that could be put on the line. That's something we also have not seen in No Mercy, but it is in a few of the 2K and the SmackDown vs. Raw games, and I used to enjoy doing that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Were you a belt guy? Did you make a lot of belts and like the pay-per-views and stuff? Did you do that stuff when you played this game?
Absolutely, I did. I enjoyed making belts. I still would, if I'm sure it is still in like 2K20 and such. I just don't play that game. I still enjoy customizing belts and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. That's always been something that was fun. I've never really been into the whole, like, create a pay-per-view mode.
No, me
I was
neither.
always just like, if I wanted to play a bunch of matches and, like, put something together, I'd be like, all right, it's King of the Ring. I'm just going to do a King of the Ring.
Play him.
Or the Royal Rumble. Or
just play him. Now, the movesets for this game, since they could do this, why not? It's the same developer. You still get Hulk Hogan, you get Goldberg, you get Kevin Nash, you get Scott Hall, DDP, Macho Man, all the way up through No Mercy, I believe. You still get their movesets, but you also get Road Warriors, Taka Michinoku, Davey Boy Smith, and a few others that, again, we keep saying this still to this day. This just proves that this game was kind of just on par to set the bar for future games. If the person's not in the game, here's their moveset. You can create them. They're here. Here you go.
yeah. There's a face that you can use that kind of looks like them, and you know, as long as you're not staring too hard during the entrance, you can kind of. I mean, listen, you put red trunks, blonde hair, camera zoomed out during the match. Anyway, it's not like right on top of you. You can definitely squint your eyes a little bit, and you get the effect of a Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, we've done it. A lot of people have done it. Especially
now, only if they were able to figure out how to get the stupid leg drop as a finisher. That's my biggest complaint.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. Now, there's also some cheats in this game. If you use Game Shark, you could actually get the WCW and NWO ring aprons from Revenge. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's... Huh.
Now, why don't you take us through some of these arenas, because while we played Clash at the Feast, you had some cool little... insight on some of them.
Yeah, so I actually think that the arenas in this game are better than the arenas in No Mercy for one reason. They're like a little more interactive. There's a little more pizzazz about them. So you have that classic Raw is War. You've got the Rumble, WrestleMania 2000, King of the Ring, Sunday Night Heat, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam. So the two that stood out to me and the ones that I played all the time as a kid and the ones that John and I played at in this week's Clash at the Feast were the Survivor Series and the SummerSlam arenas, because there are animated assets to the arenas both during the entrances and the match. So at Survivor Series, you've got that badass giant skull and these 4 pillars of flame, and they stay lit and they look great when you're coming in through your entrance. They are awesome. It's the same fire effect that you would expect for like a cane pyro. It just is cool and adds like an extra little bit of badass, I don't know, what's the word? A little more sprinkling of badass dust on your wrestler's already potential. There you go. So, you know, Kane's got more fire. Undertaker's coming out to these crazy flames. You know, it just is like an extra little thing. And then during the match, John was a really big fan of this. The flame is actually still lit on those 4 pillars on the entrance ramp on your way or during the match.
It looked like little juggalo clowns.
Yeah, John really liked it because he just kept saying, I can't. I'm just so distracted by the stupid juggalo clowns on the pillars.
I do have to correct you on one thing. It is not the WrestleMania 2000 arena, and we're going to get to that in the Did You Know section.
And then the SummerSlam arena, there's not a lot to it. It's a very simple and plain looking arena, but when you make your entrance, there's these metal gates that open and close as you come out. And as a kid, I just thought it was so cool that the actual entrance arenas or the actual arenas animated and had things to them. And I still liked it to this day. And it's the reason that we played it in Clash at the Feast. And it's something that I kind of was missing in No Mercy.
Hey, don't take away from the little backlash hooks swinging.
They didn't swing.
They swing. They swing.
They don't swing.
Yes, they do. He's He's looking it up very aggressively with a smirk on his face.
No movement.
Somewhere there's movement.
Watching another match just to prove.
Okay, he's really trying to prove me wrong here. Whatever. You win, George. Here's your medal. All right, let's get into this artwork here.
The camera pans and it makes it look like they move, but they don't actually swing.
All right, here's your victory medal. Let's get into the artwork here. The cover of this game, the WrestleMania 2000
Not
logo,
a lot to it.
So iconic. You know that logo from a million miles away. You have The Rock, Mankind, The Big Show, Triple H, and The Undertaker. That's a very old Triple H promo shot that they threw in here with the modernized everyone else. I just want to point out.
To me, I don't know why. Is it weird when you look at The Rock like this now?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so used to bald Rock that when I see this Rock, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the Rock that I grew up with.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's the Rock that I know.
This is the guy that man shakes Vin Diesel.
I was just like, oh, yeah. The Rock had hair at one point.
Yeah, a lot of it. The back of the game, I think the best quote that you ever want to put on the back of a video game, the greatest wrestling game ever created. It's a quote from Incinerate? Is that how you say that? It's a quote from an aggregator. That's all we know. And it shows pretty much what's upgraded from Revenge. It shows the signature moves, the entrances, shows X-Pac doing the suck it with the pyro going off behind him. Again, wrong camera angle. We'll let it slide. Thousands of signature moves with a beautiful stunner to Triple H. Over 50 of the top WWF superstars. More than any WWF game. That's true, because Attitude and Warzone, you're slim pickings. Entrances complete with Titantron and theme music. Now, once again, Revenge didn't have the proper theme music for everyone. And
it didn't have the proper theme music for anybody. It had
the Nitro,
I was just going to say, but no one's coming out to the Nitro theme.
No. New Create a Wrestler with custom moves, costumes, and fighting styles. And tons of game modes, including Steel Cage, Road to WrestleMania, Create a Pay-Per-View, etc. Create and bet WWF Championship belts with your friends. I mean, what more do you need to sell a game than all of this? You got that Jack's Pacific logo that, I guess it ages well. I don't know. I'm not sure. You know what doesn't age well on the URLs? The www dot. That doesn't exist anymore. No, you don't need that. As a designer, you don't need that.
Is it me, or would you put to Create a Wrestler things on here? I would not. I would show more of the entrances, like show Kane doing his pyro, or
yeah, I think the X-Pac one is pretty cool though. Just kind of
I would
drives
like
it
do
home.
like match pyro, match pyro. That's how I would have done it.
Doesn't bother me.
That's just me being a stickler.
Oh, all right. That's your nickname after all. Let's go into the art style of the game because we know it from Revenge. We know it from WrestleMania. We had this debate a few weeks ago where I said I prefer the character models and the face scans of No Mercy. You prefer this game. This game definitely does have something to it. There's just... everyone's so puffy and shiny, and the limbs are not connected, even worse than No Mercy. Their faces are flat. The hair is flat.
You know what I like about this game? There's options. The Undertaker has 3 different looks in this game.
Yeah,
I like that.
That goes back to what you said before, where just make it.
No, but like you can't make the rolled eyes face.
Oh, okay. You like that? Yeah.
Yeah, like to me that's cool. Like there are other faces in No Mercy, but the only way to use them is during entrances. So like The Rock has the raised eyebrow, Jericho's got a smiling face, Kurt Angle's got a smiling face, but like they're only utilized during the entrances. You can't. I don't even think you can Game Shark those into the actual data like to pick on the Create a Wrestler page. But I don't know. It's interesting. I find what.
I don't know, because like Attitudes before this, and we've mentioned before when we covered like Warzone and ECW games, how these scans...
Best parts of those games are the face scans.
Yeah, these scans got it right, and they're realistic, and the presentation is like TV, it's realistic, and the gameplay of this game is not a downgrade, but I think the graphics are. Like, what if we had the graphics from Attitude upgraded with the gameplay of this.
So textures from Attitude on these models.
It would be amazing. I mean, then you get WrestleMania 18 and 19 and
that's called Showdown 64. That's what that's called. It's called AKI Evolution. These are the fan modded ROM hacks that for people that still love this game and No Mercy, and they make these new unbelievable engines that have like 3 times the rosters.
It's just something you always overlook because these games are so good, and I'm not afraid to say that these graphics are crap.
Oh, no one plays these games going, oh man, these graphics are so great. No, that sentence has never been, like, in 99, people weren't going, oh my God, No Mercy, or oh my God, WrestleMania 2000, it's the best looking game ever. It's not. That's not why you played this. You played this game because of
it was fun.
the gameplay style, the amount of matches that you could have, the fact that it was easy to pick up. It had 4-player multiplayer. Like, there was just a lot that you could do in this game.
Now, do you agree with me here saying that these matches are quicker than No Mercy? Or is it right around the same? I feel like the Attitude bar, which is the same, where it fills up, it gets red, you get your special, you ignite your special, you hit your special, or you're blue in danger. It's the same as No Mercy, kind of the same as Revenge. I feel like it filled up quicker. I played with you. I played on my own on the hard difficulty, and it just seemed like 2-3 minutes tops for a match.
Yeah, I would agree. But
where
again,
me and you have gone 20 minutes in No Mercy.
Well, that's the difference. It's you and I versus you and a computer. You put a computer.
But look at Clash at the Feast. They were quick.
Yeah, that's true. But you also, the second match was like a wash.
No.
Because of who you picked.
No way. Always jacked in the stats in these games.
Oh, God. All right. Well, I look at it this way. I will agree with you. I do think the matches are quicker, but I also think that there's room for a little gray area depending on who you pick. Obviously, if you pick some of the top guys, the stats are jacked up. I have a request because I don't know if we've done this in a while. I want to just post the intro to our YouTube just so everyone can remember what this intro looks like, because I actually think that this intro is better than the No Mercy intro because better is not the right word. It's different in the way that it features more of the game and less splices of real wrestling.
Okay. I get it.
So like in No Mercy, there's a lot of like real pictures that are spliced in there, like real headshots, whereas this is just like they're recreating all these things in No Mercy.
I get it. Yeah.
Or they're recreating all these things in WrestleMania 2000.
Do you remember the YouTube password? You could post it.
Oh, shut up. I didn't want to do it and be like, oh no, I already planned on doing that.
All right. But
I don't want to double post.
My favorite part of all of this is, did you know? Did you know WWF WrestleMania 2000 was released 5 months prior to the WrestleMania 2000 pay-per-view, therefore resulting in using the stage design from the previous event, WrestleMania 15, instead?
Did you know WWF WrestleMania 2000 is the only THQ WWF game where Droz, Chaz, Thrasher, and Jeff Jarrett are all playable?
Did you know some copies of WWF WrestleMania shipped with a special card containing 4 holograms of in-game action such as wrestlers' entrance or finishing moves?
Did you know this game starts at $7.99 used for the cartridge, $159 complete, and $1,000 sealed?
Ooh, I was looking for some graded copies. I couldn't find anything on eBay
I want those cards.
Actually, I would love to find those, but I want to look up a graded copy, see if any have sold recently. So bear with me. All right, I can't find any graded copies on eBay. Maybe I'm searching wrong, but If any of you listeners know of any that have gone for sale, you can find the listing, send it over our way. I'd love to know what a graded copy goes for if new and sealed is $1,000. And also, George, there is actually a Game Boy game from November of 99, also made by Natsumi, but we will cover that in a future episode solo.
Oh, yeah, I think that needs to be its own episode. I mean, honorable mention here for it, but I think we need to do it justice. And, it's a separate game. It's a separate console. We'll do it another day.
All right, but 2 years of dealing with me, 2 years of bullshit on my end for you, so I think you need to sit back and relax and enjoy for the 105th time.
Herbal tea and just hang out and relax.
Some R&R, some ratings and reviews. Game Rankings gives this game an 85%. All game with a 4.5 out of 5 stars. EGM with an 8.25 out of 10. Famitsu was smoking some crack with a 28 out of 40. Game Informer with a 9 out of 10. Game Fan with a 100%. Game Pro with a 5 out of 5 stars. Game Revolution also smoking something with a C-. Game Spot with a 7.1 out of 10. IGN with an 8.9 out of 10. And Next Generation with a 4 out of 5 stars. And Nintendo Power with an 8 out of 10. Daniel Erickson of Next Generation says, wonderful gameplay even overshadows the lack of quality audio, which, the audio in N64 was never its strong point. In the final edition of Nintendo Power, WWF WrestleMania 2000 was ranked number 223 in a list of the best games released on Nintendo consoles, and in January of 2000. This is mind-blowing. This game sold more than 1 million copies. So a year later, 1 million copies sold. I'm not even sure 2K20 broke the 200K threshold. That's a strong feat even for a game these days, but that's the ratings from the professionals.
Whoa. How are you gonna just poo-poo on the high quality sound in this game? Just the entrance music, crisp and clean, and
nothing is crisp and clean in this game.
No, the audio is just the audio and the videos in all of the AKI THQ series of games on the N64 are just they're bad. And as a matter of fact, I have gone out of my way to try to figure out how to replicate this poor audio quality, and it really is just super compressed. That's it. They just compressed it to the point that it was just like, yeah, that's still identifiable as this person's theme song. Cool, that's passable.
I think I've mentioned the old TV that I used to use the N64 on. It had some sort of like glitch in it, I don't know, to the point where there was just like a big like bass boom on everything in No Mercy and in WrestleMania 2000 that I thought that was just like natural. And then I went over like a friend's house and played it. I'm like, oh, this actually sounds really cool. So the audio for me playing these growing up was even worse. So if that's even possible.
That was possible.
Yeah, if that's even possible. But all right, I'm cutting you off again. It's time to rate the games.
The game!
George Feis.
Johnny Clash.
2 years later. We're still doing this. Still sitting in the same chair.
Wow.
WWF WrestleMania 2000. Will you play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Oh, play it forever.
Woo!
But let me tell you why. It's not because it's one of the greatest games of all time and this, that, and the other thing. It's because it's different. This is the first game in this AKI THQ series of games that wasn't just like a bigger version. This is different than Revenge. This has Create a Wrestler. You're not just locked into changing characters. This has a more developed story mode where you can actually win a multitude of titles over the course of this long linear storyline that gets repetitive very, very quickly. But when it does give you those little cutscenes, it's so rewarding because you're like, oh, this is cool. Because it's not something that you're used to seeing in this series of games. It elevated an already amazing base from World Tour and Revenge, and just like, sprinkled a little magic on top, and you got something different. Are there things that I would change? 100%. There's 100% some things I would change in this game, but it holds up. And that's not nostalgia. That's a new one. And that's not nostalgia goggles. That's just, an honest opinion of this game.
Okay. Johnny
Clash. 105 episodes. 2 years of doing this with your new best friend.
Oh boy.
WrestleMania 2000. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
Play it forever. Woo! See, each one of these games, you can go back to World Tour. You can go back to Revenge. You can go back to WCW vs. the World. Go back to this game, to No Mercy. Each one stands alone, even though they are carbon copies almost identical of each other with just some upgrades. They each stand alone for something different, and yeah, easy, play it forever. This, if I wanted to play No Mercy, I'll play No Mercy, but in my mind, this is a separate game. This isn't just the prequel. This is something completely different, and yeah, holds up today. Play forever, always.
All right, now the most important question.
Oh.
George Feis. Play it forever, future endeavor.
All right, so up next, the Clash at the Feast. Hey, I think I've already signed on. Come on, I've already signed on for this.
A single tear has just fallen down my face.
All right, for this week's Clash at the Feast, head on over to youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast or just search Game Marks Podcast and we will be right there. We played Lucha Libre last week, AAA, one of the more interesting games we've ever played here on the podcast. Game 1, I picked La Parka, George picked Octagon. George won. Game 2, I picked Vampiro, George picked Psychosis. George won. For your winner, George Feis.
That's me. 2-year anniversary. Play my music.
Whatever year. I presented you with another Clash at the Feast title for your second year win already. And we're moving on to the third. And I'm looking forward to you creating me a title.
I'll be honest with you. I got something in the works right now that, let's just say you're getting a belt anyway.
Oh! All right, but with that, I think it's time to put a bow on our 2-year anniversary episode. What do you say? Why don't you tell us what we're playing next week?
All right, so listen, this is a heavy game. There's a lot to cover. 2-year anniversary. For these anniversary episodes, we always go big because you got to. But next week, we are taking it not easy, but we're going handheld because next week we are playing Mucha Lucha, Masquerades of the Lost Code for the Game Boy Advance. Now,
Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha.
You got some love for Mucha Lucha.
I love that show so much.
I gotta say, I've seen a couple episodes, not like super well versed, but the show always, like, if it was on somewhere, I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
All right, that's what we're playing next week as we start our journey into year 3. George, it's been a pleasure.
Here's to another 52 episodes, John.
And hopefully beyond.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our merchandise at GameMarksPod.com/shop and join us on Patreon, patreon.com/GameMarksPod. This is the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. For the 105th time, probably more because of bonus episodes and interviews, thank you very, very much for hanging out with us each and every week. The support is overwhelming. We love you guys. Here's to another... You know what? No, there is no. Just here's to more great content. We could do this forever. I'll do it forever, John. And with that, take us home. Do that thing that you do.
Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.
Hey guys, it's George. Thanks for listening to the 2-year anniversary episode. If you've stayed throughout the ending song and the ads and all that, and you're hearing this right now, the first person to message us on Twitter at GameMarksPod will get a free pair of grips. Our brand new grips. Okay, bye.